You're listening to the Skyy Lifestyles coaching series, helping men all around the world to attract and connect with women on level few men will ever experience. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and visit us at coryskyy.com.
I always talk about getting women to approach you and how I've always had women approaching me without saying a word. Don't think about it. It's just 100% a mutual feeling between the two of you. When you look a woman in her eyes and sparks fly, she's going to get butterflies in her stomach, and so will you. I still get butterflies in my stomach when I end up in certain situations. You know, and the shit's happened for years with me. It's exciting. It's no longer a thing of trying to get a girl to like you. It's just a way of being, living. It just happens everywhere you go. When you meet a girl, there's no work involved. There's no thinking involved. You don't have to think about what to do or what's next. It's simply living in the moment and going with the flow and just letting things happen. Let's talk about how the eye game works. And I'll just give you an example. I went out with one of my guys to a local bar with live music. We walked in, head held high, smart, loving life. Even though I was sick, I still walked in with my head held high, with a smirk on my face. I still maintained eye contact with everyone in the venue. Girls were checking me out. Guys were looking over. I was nodding my head. I had a very welcoming energy about me, even though I was sick. You can still cover up this shit, even though you're sick, or maybe you don't fully believe it yet. You can still cover it up and project yourself as confident and sexy. So I walk into this venue, and this is one of my local establishments here in town that I always go to, and I walk in, and there are a ton of women. There are a ton of attractive women, and I quickly notice that they're all extremely horny. It's completely obvious, and then I realized that it was spring break. It's spring break for about 6 weeks out of the year here in Florida, which is extremely fun. But so I walked in, and I'm gazing the room. I'm gazing, looking at everybody in their eyes, just going up. We walk up. As I'm walking up to the bar, I spot this one girl that stood out. This girl was not extremely open sexually. She was not presenting herself and projecting herself as horny as hell. She was more of a laid back. She was obviously a local. She wasn't a tourist. She was a little bit more conservative, dressed more conservatively, but very, very sexy. And I looked at her and I said, yes. I made an immediate decision that that is the one girl in this place that I would be with, not any of the other ones. Now, given my situation, and I've been doing this for a while, yes, I am very selective, and I do go for more of a challenge. I go for girls that aren't putting themselves out there. I go for the girls that are going to be a little bit more tougher because I love the challenge. Okay, so I lock eyes with this girl as I'm walking in. She's standing there with a couple of her friends. And I don't stop what I'm doing. I continue walking. I go up to the bar. I order my drink. I'm with my one-on-one student. I meet up. There's a couple other friends that I met up with out there, and we're just hanging out. The music is playing. We're just moving back and forth to the music. We're socializing. We're interacting. As I am continuing to gaze the room, I gaze the room and I look in the direction where I know this girl is that I initially locked eyes with. I gaze the room over there, and, guess what? I lock eyes with her a couple more times. I position myself in a very open spot right near the dance floor, someplace where it wasn't so crowded to where if a girl, if I wanted a girl to approach me, she wouldn't be able to. So I positioned myself in an open spot near the dance floor. I kept looking back, checking this girl out. She looked at me, I looked at her, we kind of gave a little bit of smile. The key to this is, yes, I was acknowledging her. She was acknowledging me. She was not presenting herself as extremely open sexually. She was not giving me hardcore sexual eye contact, which a lot of times women will do. To your average guy, the eye contact that she gave me would, they would be totally oblivious that this girl would be interested in them. But I'm more aware of it, and I pay attention to this stuff, and I know that the attraction was there immediately, and hence why I kept gazing back to her. She kept looking at me, I kept looking at her, a little smirk. Nothing too sexual. It was extremely subtle. After locking eyes with her a couple times, her and her friends walked towards the back of the bar, and I lost sight of her, which I didn't care. I was just like, whatever. I just continued doing what I was doing. I knew I would see her again. I stayed where I was. I maintained my composure, my body language, continued doing what I was doing, having a good time. Within about 15 minutes, she walked back, positioned herself about 10 feet away from me. She had extremely open body language, and then at this point was continuing to look at me even more. I continued to do what I was doing, having a good time, moving to the music, and within just a few minutes, she just happened to be standing right next to me and my friends with her friends. Was this a coincidence? Abso-fucking-lutely not. This girl knows the eye game, just as I do. And the funniest part about it is she moved and repositioned herself along with all of her friends near me, near what she desired. And this is exactly what I would do in the same situation if I wanted to position myself near a specific girl. She positioned herself so near me that basically her back was right to me, right to my shoulder, and bumping into my shoulder. That was my cue to just say, hey, what's going on? And then start talking about whatever the situation would bring about. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I could have talked about, the fans on the roof, or I could have talked about the music, I could have talked about the drink that I was drinking, I could have talked about anything. But that was just my cue to say, hey, what's going on? She made her move. She repositioned herself. Not only did she reposition herself, she repositioned her entire group of friends near me to open it up to see what would happen. And that's my cue to say, hey, what's going on? And that is how things work in the real world. This will happen all the time. This will happen not only in bars, not only in clubs. This will happen in bookstores. This will happen at amusement parks. This will happen when you're like standing in a huge concert. This will happen everywhere. This is how things work in the real world. It's a non-verbal communication between two people that have attraction for each other. Attraction is not a choice. This will happen. There's no question about, well, does it work? No, it is a law. The law of attraction. The law of gravity. If you step off of that building, you will fucking fall. If you put yourself out there and you are extremely clear and you make yourself attractive and known to women, you will have these experiences happen to you.